to seek first the
kingdom of God and believe what you say. So all I need,
Kingdom favor to everyone. It is an honor to introduce our guest speaker for tonight here in Kingdom Talk, Philippines. He is Pastor Shamron Munroe. He has been inspiring crowds, facilitating workshops, and empowering leaders for over a decade after finding his purpose. Shamron has never lost sight of his vision and has been on a mission to encapsulate an audiences with a burning desire to live a life of purpose and passion. Working closely with the Ministry of Youth, Sports, and Culture in the Bahamas, Shamron has been able to impact inner city youth susceptible to the gang violence, drugs, and teenage pregnancy. Bahamian raised and born, he learned to escape the negative influences which offered temporary solutions with permanent and expensive consequences. Shamron decided to further his education in youth training and discipleship at the Eastern Shore Master's Commission, bilingual in Delaware, USA. He has since authored Understanding the Power of Friendship. He is married to Mom Kimberly and enjoying life together with their sons. My dear brothers and sisters in Christ, let's all welcome Pastor Shamron Munroe to share with us about preserving your legacy. Thank you so much.
Hi everybody, I'm Shamron Munroe. Thank you so much for that introductory. Well, this is another amazing talk with you all here in the Philippines and around the world. It's such a pleasure. Well, as we talk about protecting your legacy, one of the things that, or preserving your legacy, one of the things that I want to really share about legacy and give you the first point as we get into this so you can be able to encapsulate or capture a vision of what legacy is. And it's very simple. I would say legacy, and as a motivational speaker, I'm going to break down the word leg-U-C. Okay? Leg-U-C. And that has to do with running a race. Legacy is seeing the next leg or the next individual, the next generation that's going to receive the baton, the vision, the mission, the purpose, or the assignment. And that's loaded. So basically, legacy is in comparison to a relay. And if you're going to pass something on, it must be something that you know, first and foremost, that you're passing on and who you're passing on to. And that's the importance and the whole purpose of preserving your legacy. All right. So for those of you who are watching, you're business owners, fathers, mothers, teachers, leaders of organizations, pastors, visionaries of political groups, or you are a small businessman, or even a brother or a friend, and you're keeping and protecting something that was passed on to you from somebody else. Well, that, my friend, is legacy. I'll tell you a little bit what they say legacy is. Legacy is, they say, is amount of money. It's an estate. It's a collection of items that mark someone's life or history, and they're now passing it on to you. That can be property or any type of commodity or asset as well. So legacy in the kingdom perspective, my friends, is the idea of the king passing on what? A kingdom, a dominion, a power to you and I. And what is that kingdom? What is that power? What is that dominion? Now that's the questions you will answer as I share these pointers, and it will reveal to you the revelation of what it's all that about and what legacy is in a nutshell. So legacy is, as I've said already, is the leg that you can see. Legacy means that you know who you're passing it on to. So it's not something that you're passing on fictitiously. It's not a figment of your imagination. It's not a dream. It is an intentional, physical transfer. It is something that you've been preparing, something that you've been grooming, something that you've been working on for a very long time. Because when you pass it on, you're passing it on to something, someone, some organization, entity who knows, understands, values, and watch this because we're comparing it to a race, has also been trained and prepared to take on the assignment, the history of what you have been carrying. Because you too, you are a legacy of what you've been carrying. You've carried something that was passed on to you by your father, by your mother, by your brothers, your sisters, your uncle, your aunties, from a generation before you. And it's something very sacred. The baton, the legacy, the assignment is something that may not be handled trivially. It's not something that's casual. It's something that is honorable. It's valuable. It's something that when it's passed on, the weight of it means I'm ready to take on. I'm ready to take off. I'm ready to embrace. I'm ready to hold. So let's break down what legacy is. Legacy is the life of an individual or an organization. Vision. The life of an individual, an organization, the history of an individual and an organization. That's what's being passed on. That's what's being carried. And so the life that an individual lives must be one that is honorable, because the baton is weighty. It's an assignment. Because who's receiving the assignment is also been prepared, trained, coached, mentored to take on the baton, so that when they run, work, develop, advance in their own personal assignment of that race, that life that they too are living, they are living a life but carrying a history. Let me repeat that again. The next individual that's receiving the baton is living a life, because they're living their own personal life as well. They're running their own race. But the baton that's passed on to them is a history. Organizations, there are people who are the next president, they're the next chairperson, the next vice president, co-chair, coach. And they're running their race. They're being unique, innovative, creative, adding new ideas, new pathways, expansion. But they're carrying a history, a winning streak, a victory of the past generation, a victory of the past president, a victory. Now, the life about legacy is that you're also taking histories of defeat as well. Not just victories, but histories of defeat. So you're passing on history that has a combination of someone's victory and failures to an individual who has been trained but has not yet ran that race. So powerful about legacy, because you're preserving it, but you're preserving it with an optimism that who you're passing it on to has the capability. And the capabilities is not that they've run their leg of the race yet, but because they have been trained and mentored, they've been developed, they've been educated, they have been pressed on, they've been tested. You now can quantify and qualify the quality of their race in anticipation that they will run their race successful and win victoriously even when they encounter failures, because the training that they've received have been a training from a coach of history, from a mentor of history, from a former or past president who have also walked the path or ran the race that they too are about to run. So even though the baton is being passed on to a fresh individual, a fresh idea, a new individual, a new generation, a new person, a new woman, a new man is now becoming the president, now becoming the pastor, now becoming the mentor, now becoming now in charge, and now becoming the new coach, now becoming the father, the husband, the wife. Now is getting into a new relationship because they've been mentored by the generation before, the history before, with the victories and failures, and they have also been tested. They've now had what you call a preview. They've ran some practices. They've done some practice running. They've practiced trials. That's the trials and tribulations, guys. Because of the trials and tribulations, that's their practice. They've been able now to feel what the weight of that baton is about, the weight of that assignment is about, the weight of what they're carrying is all about. So now when they actually run their race, when they actually lead the company, when they actually get into leadership, you know that 99.9% they're going to win, because you've seen their scores, you've seen their track record, you've seen their practice record. So now as they run that race, or they run that leg of their race, the legacy, they're running with history, even though they're running their own leg of the race in the present. They're writing their own story, but they're also living a life and running with history as well. That's legacy. Okay? The next thing about legacy, and I hope you took notes, that was pretty loaded there. The next thing about legacy is that not only is the life that you're living, or the leg that you can see, but the legacy, the E in legacy, is that you're passing on to someone who's embracing the assignment. So it's not only someone who is living and has a life and is a part of the vision and mission, but someone who's about to embrace it. There are people who are out there, they say they're carrying a legacy, but they haven't embraced the history. They haven't embraced what the organization is about. They haven't embraced what the father or mother is saying. They haven't embraced the vision of the mission, or they have not embraced what the family ideals are, what the values are. If you're going to create and preserve your legacy, you must pass it on to someone who's going to embrace it. Someone who's going to embrace legacy. And that individual who's going to embrace legacy, as we talk here, someone who's going to embrace but also embark on a new venture. Embark in expanding the vision and mission. Embark in engaging the race and running to win the prize. Someone who is going to fulfill the vision. Whatever was not done in the last generation, they're going now to focus on how they can expand, but also enhance and engage while they're living this generation, and expand the investment, expand what was given to them. That's legacy. So the next part about the legacy is not just embracing and expanding and engagement, But in a legacy is something that is a goal. It is GOAL, but also GOLD. Legacy is a goal. How do you preserve it? You preserve it by investments so you can have achievements. Because if you don't have the GOLD, you cannot achieve the GOAL. See, legacy is so important that when it's passed on with power. It's passed on. Yes, I'm going to embrace it, but what I'm embracing and advancing is also something that I'm holding of valuable. It's assets, so I can achieve something. Because if you want your sons and daughters to preserve the legacy, you must give them something valuable to invest as they go into the next phase of the vision, the next phase of the life, the history of the legacy. Because you're one leg that everybody can see, but somebody else that's passing it on to is now the second leg that everybody now is looking at. And as they look at that individual, they need to be able to see power behind that individual, and the power behind another generation is the GOLD. You gotta have some gold, you gotta have some money, you gotta have some investment, you gotta have power. Because if you're going to speak to the economy, speak to the situation, speak to the changings of time, you can speak to it by money. Money answereth all things. If it answers all things, that means you're having a conversation. That means there's some questions out there, and the GOLD answers those questions. It is the answer to a lot of those questions. And it is the answer to the questions so you can achieve GOAL, the goal. So the GOLD is the answers to the questions so you can achieve the GOAL. That's legacy. What else about legacy that you want to make so important is that legacy, in the word legacy, is also the word ace. Okay? Ace. But I'm breaking it up because I want you to understand that ace is the people that you're choosing. You're putting aces in places. You're putting people who not only value or embracing, but also people who will add value as they empower. Because as they go into the next generation, you're no longer running the race. You're 65, 70 years old, 80 years old, 90 years old. You're putting down your baton. You're passing it on. You're not running the race anymore, but they're now looking at the next runner. The next runner of the vision. The next runner of the organization. The next runner of Kingdom Talk. The next runner of your family. The next runner. The next matriarch. The next patriarch. The next leaders. The next generation. Legacy. You need your aces. You need your aces in places. You need to put the aces in places. You look at legacy, you'll see the word ace. ACE is right in there. You need your aces in places so that you can always win the game of life. As you're coming together, it's a history, but it's a history that you want to have victories in there. Yes, there will be failures, but you want to know that you put your aces in places, people who are trained mentally, physically, financially, and they will not disgrace the race to displace the history and mess up the legacy. That's long. Replay it again. Go back and listen to the teaching, and I'm sure you'll get it. So let's move on. Now that's you can see. That's legacy. So you need people who could communicate. That's the C now. Who could communicate the vision to the next generation. People who could communicate what you're all about. People who can communicate so that others can join and buy into the vision to bring more of the goal, G-O-L-D, so that you can achieve the G-O-A-L. Because there are other people who will invest in the legacy because you put your aces into places. Okay? So you need someone who can communicate, someone who can talk, someone who can bring community, someone who can bring unity to the community, someone who can drive the nail on their head. And that's how you know. This is how you know you're preserving your legacy. You're preserving your legacy because you're passing on to a communicator. You're passing on to somebody who's an ace. You're passing on to someone who understands that they must take the G-O-L-D to achieve the G-O-A-L. They're not taking it upon themselves. They're taking it so they can achieve the G-O-A-L for the vision. They're taking the G-O-L-D so they can achieve the G-O-A-L for the history of the family, for the integrity of the organization, for the credibility of the product, for the advancement of the kingdom of God. I'm still with you in the text here. I'm still with you in spiritual terms. So I want all of you to understand you have to preserve legacy, but legacy is preserved in that way. It must be someone who's also embraced it and is engaging the environment, engaging their generation. And someone who's living a life of purpose. That's the L there in legacy. All right. As we're about to wrap up in this whole concept, now with legacy, if you want to preserve your legacy, you have to find someone. Watch this now. This is the part that is a caveat. Someone, yes, who takes on history and everything, but someone who represents themselves. That's the why there. The why is yourself. You must be found in the legacy. That's the why. The why is you. If you are not a part of the history that's about to be made, then you're not going to honor the legacy or carry on the assignment that's passed on to you. Now, how do you know that you... Now, why am I saying this? Because preserving legacy now is not just you as a general passing on to the people that you've raised up, to the soldiers that you've raised up. The soldier themselves has to see themselves a part of the race, a part of the vision. So people who see themselves, who know, who have the heart of the vision, who speak about it, who live about it, who talk about it, who express it in the way they do things, they remind you of the leaders. They remind you of the history makers. That's the individual who shall carry on the legacy. Who is the legacy carrier? Who is the person to carry on the baton, because they will preserve it the best. They will run their unique race because they have to live their life, but they will embrace the history while they're living in the present because they're taking on a baton that's from someone else. Watch this. The baton is not yours. You must pass it on. That's legacy. The legacy is the baton. The legacy is the baton. The baton is the assignment that has wrapped up in it the legacy. The legacy is the baton. The legacy is the baton. The baton is the assignment that has wrapped up in it the legacy, the history, and the present and the future of the gold and the goal of what the individuals who are running have to achieve, have to embrace. And that's why they must be the ace in the right place. But to wrap it up all together, the individual must see themselves a part of the vision. I hope you leaders are writing. I hope this is clear in your ear. I hope you're understanding who should take on the family business, who should take on this organization, whether it's a community organization, a non-profit organization, whether it's a political organization, or whether it's an institutional structure, an educational structure, or a department, or a small business, an enterprise, or an estate. I hope this helps you clearly see who takes on, or who takes the baton. And the individual who sees themselves, the why, they're not seeing themselves first, technically. First they have she embraced it. And they see themselves advancing it. And they want to be there, and they want to be a part no matter what happens. They've been tested, they've been tried. They've gone through all the practices. And after the individual actually receives the opportunity to run the race, that's when they see themselves a part of the legacy. So truly, as you can see, the Y is the last letter in legacy, which is you. You see yourself last in the legacy. But when the baton is passed on to you, you're now first. Because what's being passed on to you is history, opportunity, goal, G-O-L-D, and the opportunity to achieve the G-O-A-L, the vision, the mission, the purpose, the assignment. You begin to show up now because it's your time. But you didn't see yourself the first time. You saw yourself as you begin to embrace it. As you begin to train. As you begin to go through trials and tribulations. As you begin to be talked about. See, that's the journey, guys. You've been beaten up, you've been lied on, you've been cheated on, and you realize, you know what? I'm so committed to this. I still see myself a part of this. I really want to do this. That's when you realize that you are the next person. You are the one to take the baton. Your heart, you're humble, you're ready, you're equipped, you're an ace. So guys, let's now help us understand as we wind up now, preserving legacy. As we've talked about all of that, we've talked about the leg you can see. As you preserve legacy, you must have vision to see the next generation. You as the individual. Let's go backwards now. The why. You must know why you can see the ace in the place. You need to know why. You can see the ace in the place who you need to invest the G-O-L-D into because of the G-O-A-L they must achieve. Because as they embrace the baton, the assignment, it is a unique life and a journey that they're going to be on. Oh, that is legacy all backwards. But it starts with you. When you look at it backwards now, it starts with you. So now it's not the you of the individual that it's being passed on to, but it's the you, the individual, who's now passing on. If you're going to preserve it, you must see. That's the C. Why? See. You've asked yourself the questions. You've questioned yourself. But now you can see the ace, that's the A, and the gold, so that they can achieve the goal, so that they embrace. Now you go, now it's about them, so that they can embrace and advance and engage. And watch this, live the life. It's a unique life because it's their race that they're running now. Their leg of the race that they're running. Not yours, but theirs. But so they can live the life that they're called to live. But with the history that you give them. With the revelation, the education, the empowerment that you give them. That's legacy, guys. That's the way you can preserve it. Thank you so much for tuning into Kingdom Talk today. I hope you gleaned a lot, that you got a lot of information and revelation from those truths. I pray that you are blessed and inspired and motivated, and you're changed to live a better life. I just believe right now that those of you who are watching, that your life is about to be transformed and changed, even now. And that some of you are crying because you finally recognize who's supposed to be a part of your team, who is the ace in the place. You finally recognize that the person that you've probably been putting aside is the person who's actually proven themselves to be the right person. Because they stayed the course. They've fought the good fight. They've stayed and kept the faith. And they're strong. They're ready to run the next race, the next leg of the race. The leg you can see. It's preserving your legacy. Preserving the legacy. The organization, the nation, the home, the family. Thank you so much for watching. Along with Coach Ariel and Coach Percy, I want to thank you for watching Kingdom Talk. Please like and share with friends and family, no matter where they are across the world, and let them know that Kingdom Talk that's the place for empowerment and inspiration. And share this message today on how to preserve the legacy. Blessings, inspiration is yours. It's inside of you. See you at the top.
All that I need is your kingdom. All that I need is my King. All that I need is your righteousness. Then I'd have everything.
You said that I should not worry. You said that I should not fret. You said that I should not be concerned.